to the I-80 Club on this Tuesday, December 23rd. It is National Fun League. Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer with you for a Week 16 recap, going all the way back to Thursday, 5 days ago in the rearview mirror, maybe the best game of the entire season. Mike Schaefer, hello. How are you on this Tuesday morning, 2 days before Christmas?
I'm pretty good. I am running low on sleep, and right after this, I get to go to the grocery store. That's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. And then things I think get better after that point. But yeah, so once we get done with the grocery store run, should be the only time I have to go between now and actual Christmas. That'll be okay, but I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, good luck to you. Hopefully it goes better than the Colts had their game last night. If that would have been a grocery store equivalent, it would have been not too bad at first. And then, the checkout aisles are all full and then the machines aren't working. And then suddenly you're in miserable hell. So hopefully it doesn't happen like that.
Then they fumble all the eggs and they have no more eggs right out in the parking lot. And then,
Yeah, the person in this chat who put the 49ers in the pick'em coasted to a nice and easy victory. Wish that I could have done that with Oregon over JMU, those assholes on Saturday night. Could have been a 5-1 weekend for your boy Schaef. Could have been a 5-1 weekend, and said it was just
I did go 5-1. My one loss was to Trevor Lawrence and the resurgent Jaguars.
Wow.
Who kicked the ever-loving shit out of the Broncos in a way that I just was unprepared to see.
Same. I thought they could win the game. I did not see them winning the game like in maybe the most kind of comfortable, chill fashion imaginable. I mean, they just dominated.
I definitely thought Jacksonville was a legitimate threat to win that game. I just figured Denver would, and the way it started, it looked like Denver was defensively going to be in that game, and then all of a sudden they just couldn't cover anybody. Trevor Lawrence played pretty well. It's a great reminder that, while we see the Bucs struggle right now, their offense is in Jacksonville, who is just humming offensively these last few weeks, as Trevor Lawrence and those wide receivers are running Cohen's offense now almost to perfection. And if that's one of the best defenses in the NFL, which by all accounts it was going into that game, and they certainly are very good at getting pressure on the quarterback. Trevor Lawrence had a monster game at their house and just couldn't have looked any easier for him throwing the football. I mean, he had to scramble and make some impressive throws too, but I mean, for the most part, they had Denver's defense dissected. There was open guys almost all the time. Like I had to totally reevaluate multiple things as that game was going on.
Yeah, I was thinking about it this morning, how you and I have had all these conversations this season on the pod about, do you buy into this team? You buy into this team? Like the first team we probably glommed onto, Tampa Bay, like couldn't look any worse as of late. We have taken some spins with the Seahawks, who have perhaps the win of the year on Thursday over the Rams.
Not all of us. Some of us have consistently.
Fair. Some of us maybe took a spin with the Chiefs because, we're afraid of declaring something dead, and then immediately we want to declare it dead. Some of us maybe even wanted to take a spin with the Cowboys and the idea of winning with offense. Those people, Schaefer, absolute morons. But as we get now to Week 16, Week 17 starts on Thursday with a horrific triple header. My God. Congratulations to your team, though.
Thank you.
You very much have a chance to win and end the Lions
season. Looking forward
to
spending Christmas with Netflix, my real family.
There you go. Netflix and chill, says Mike Schaefer, but literally chill. He wants to chill on the couch. But I was thinking, like, wow, we have gotten out of this point, 2 weeks left in the regular season, and yet I still am perplexed, and the season still seems as wide open as like any of our podcasts that we have done in November and in October and certainly in September. I thought that we would have a lot more clarity right now. And I think the Jacksonville win in particular is one of those where I'm like, all right, I guess we don't have clarity, because I kind of thought we would leave the weekend saying, all right, let's throw Jacksonville into the heap. They are not among the true contenders. And instead they if they weren't already in my list of contenders, which I don't know if I would have had them, now they very much are. Of course, the Broncos are going to stay there. For now, they're still the 1 seed. And so I love it. I mean, it is incredible that we've gotten to this point in the year. 2 weeks left in the regular season, 4 rounds of the playoffs, including the Super Bowl. So we have 6 weeks left of football. And I don't know. I still think that there are a number of teams that could make it, let alone win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville, I was kind of turning my attention towards. Same with Houston. I think we had this conversation on the radio last week, in part because I continue, and I still think this. The AFC just has more teams to me that are legitimately good, and you're shaking your head, and I don't get
You're
it.
the only
Like,
person I've heard say this the whole year. I think
I
NFC
don't understand
is way
that though,
better.
because if nobody likes the Eagles, to me, it's a 2-team thing in the NFC, because as good as the 49ers looked against the Colts, I just, I don't trust them against either Seattle or Los Angeles. They have to go on the road for all 3 games unless they win the division, which maybe happens, but I don't think that they will. And then, I look at the AFC, and it's Denver, it's New England, it's Jacksonville, it's Houston, it's Buffalo. Like, there's 5 teams right there compared to the NFC, which is at 2.
No, the NFC is also at 5. The NFC is also at 5.
Yeah,
it's all 3
because
AFC
you
West
believe
teams.
in the Bears.
It's the Eagles and the Bears. What do you mean? How can you believe in the Broncos and not the Bears? I don't, I know that the Broncos have a way better defense, but I think all of these teams are flawed just in different ways. And so the flaws are maybe what flaws you are okay with.
The literal reverse of this question would have been said to you last week before Denver's loss that they had at home. Like,
no, I've been
championing you're championing the Bears, but you've been doubting Denver every step of the way.
Sure.
So first of all, coming off of how they won on Saturday, we're going to talk about the Bears as a legitimate threat in the NFC.
Yes.
They had to have a miraculous comeback against an injured Green Bay team.
Hey, don't talk about miraculous comebacks when you're championing the Broncos, how many points were they losing against the Giants by? How many points did they have to score in the fourth quarter?
Nobody cares.
To also get 33 points, those absolute assholes that weekend.
Yeah, that's like one of the 7 times that the Broncos came back. That's not the point here.
Okay,
the point is nobody should believe in the Bears. Their first round exit in the NFC is going to be fantastic. I personally look forward to it.
Yeah, so you know what? I don't like this. You put me in a position where I have to root for Chicago to be right. And so,
you put yourself in that position by saying things like, they can win the Super Bowl.
No, I said they could win the NFC. There's the difference between winning the Super Bowl and winning the NFC.
Well, then that would seem to indicate that you think if they can win the NFC, they should be able to win the Super Bowl. If you think the NFC is better than the AFC.
It is
Follow
awesome.
your own logic, Josh.
Yeah. The NFC is all, but then they're going to play the Bills, and the Bills will run them off the field. They'll win by 40 points. That was my game plan the entire time.
At the end of all of this for us is the Bills, the team that has never let us down in any
situation
at any point in time.
Penn State football, Buffalo Bills, the teams that have haunted you and me for a solid decade now. One of these years, we're going to be the blind squirrel, and we're going to find that damn acorn, Schaef. Perhaps this year will be the year. Or it'll be New England and Philadelphia, and I'll be absolutely miserable for this whole 2 weeks.
I think it was it Eric Edholm who was saying this when, again,
we talked to him last week.
Did a version of National Fun League on your full-time job, but he said something about how when Peyton Manning won his first Super Bowl, it came, in a postseason where he didn't play that well, and it just the route for the Colts wasn't what it had to have been.
Bob Sanders got healthy that year, yeah.
You think about it, there would be some hilarious similarities for Josh Allen if they win against the Bears. The hapless shouldn't even be here, Chicago Bears, if they somehow make it from the NFC, which they won't because they're not that good. They play the 49ers this week. That should be
how about that game on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, so that's 2 teams
Two teams you doubt entirely.
Yeah. I will say this. I didn't think the 49ers were going to go put up 41 offensive points against the Colts, let alone the pick 6. I think I could have seen coming, but the rest of it, and then poor Amir Abdullah helping out the Cods with that fumble early in the game. But I did not expect. And then the other way around, I wasn't expecting the Colts to put up 27 either. That was an incredibly high scoring game on Monday night. I was wildly off on that one. And so I was like thinking it'd be more like the Seattle Indianapolis game, it'd be like a 16-13 game, something like that. But yeah, so we'll see with the 49ers as well, and they play the Bears. I mean, I think the 49ers are better, but again, I just think it's Seattle or Los Angeles. Like, and some of it is I think I'd rather one of those two teams than literally anybody else in the NFC.
Because you think they would provide like the best Super Bowl, right? Like, yeah.
If I want like an entertaining Super Bowl, I don't want Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense involved. If I want an entertaining Super Bowl, I don't want Chicago and whatever stupid shit that they're going to do, in large part because I don't want any chance in which they could somehow win this with a team that I'm not even sure is good in a division that is the weirdest NFC North we've had in a while.
It's very strange.
Minnesota is 7-8. They play Detroit on Christmas, who's 8-7, and their seasons could not be more weird. When you look at the fact that they could have the same record at Minnesota with a backup quarterback yet again, which we can get into that at some point. We don't have to, but we can. Can get it done on Christmas Day. And then you have a Packers team that I already was not really believing in and is just so banged up at this point in time.
They lost their best player. They're done.
It's hard to see them, making any kind of run. And yet there they were on Saturday night with every opportunity to win that game and potentially win the division. So, we'll see how it plays out. They get a dead in the water Baltimore team now that couldn't finish off the Sunday Night Football game, which they play on Sunday Night Football, and that game just doesn't seem like it's going to be interesting at all. We'll see.
No, that's Saturday night. That's a Saturday night game.
Oh, that's Saturday night game. Yeah, so I have that
Saturday
wrong.
Night.
Is Sunday night? Is Sunday night Chicago, San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So this is a weird weekend. There are 3 Christmas games. There are 2 Saturday games. There is a Monday night game. And then, so what does that leave you? 10 games on Sunday and a Sunday night game. So you got 9 games spread across the early window and the late window. The game of the day outside of the Sunday night game is Bills-Eagles, which it sucks for me. Like, I want them to have to exert themselves so they go into the playoffs, not rested and stuff. But the Eagles have already won the division. And I've seen some, I follow an inordinate amount of Eagles fans besides my wife, which is very frustrating at times. And they're all like, I don't really care. 2 or 3, it doesn't really matter to me. So I'm thinking that they're probably going to be resting some folks against the Commanders going into the Week 18 game.
Isn't it a little early to start resting folks? Like, don't you rest folks in Week 18?
I think they'll rest in Week 18, not against the Bills, but,
All right. Yeah.
It's just not a must-win game by any means,
Yeah, and that's, if they finish with the same record, they'd be third, right? Because Chicago has a head-to-head win. They can't fall any lower than third because the NFC South is a thing. Which, congrats to the Panthers, but more congrats to the 5th seed. What an unbelievable gift to you this season. You get to play whatever that is, which we think should be Carolina, but could also be Tampa, I guess.
Tampa still owns. If Tampa wins against them in Week 18, I guess they gotta also win this next week and have Carolina lose. I think if Carolina wins this week and Tampa loses, it's over. I think the NFC South.
Because there'd be a 2-game with only one to play. Yeah. And I don't know if Tampa wins both and Carolina goes 1-1, or Carolina wins this week and loses.
Then Tampa wins the division. They have the
tiebreaker.
I can't remember if it's the division or the conference record, but they would.
That's going to be our Sunday night game, almost guaranteed to be our Sunday night game, unless Tampa loses this week.
Or if Seattle and San Fran is for the 1 seed, that would be the Sunday night game.
Or Sam Darnold being put in that position 2 years in a row, but then he wins it this year and continues his "I hate Josh Peterson" tour that he's on.
Yeah, well, let's see if he wins in the playoffs when I will ultimately be proven right or wrong. I'm sitting here. I am waiting and waiting. Our great friend Furls, who doesn't
look like he's hate him so much.
It's not that I hate him. It's just I gotta see it before I believe it. I just and also again, I've gotten to a point where I want to be very right. And so I have to, you know how it goes. You have a take and you get yelled at by a co-host, and then you double down on the take. You get yelled at by the co-host again. And so that's how I've gotten to a point where I'm rooting for Bears Bills in the Super Bowl,
Horrifying.
can you believe it? I don't know. this is the trust tree. I have something to admit to you, Mike Schaefer. You're going to hate this. I really like watching Caleb Williams throw the football around. Strong arm, make some wild plays, poor decision-making at times, but also fun. And I think, the prince who was promised was Ben Johnson for years, and boy, howdy, that guy rocks. He is an incredible head coach, and I would love to be buying Ben Johnson stock for years. Honestly, the thing that I think might come back to bite them, and I've had a theory like this for a while. Matt McMaster and I talk about it a lot on Before the Witching Hour. I do wonder if over time he will be proven to be a coach where Chicago wishes they had a dome, and who knows, maybe they will have a dome in a few years. They like that offense. I just wonder if year after year after year, can that offense play at a really high level in the elements? Like I gave him this theory recently about Aaron Rodgers, that the Packers would have been better if they would have been a dome team. And I bet that they have an extra Super Bowl along the way. But dealing with the elements, sometimes it snows in January at Lambeau Field. And I think sometimes that it's not like it cost them, but they weren't able to operate at full efficiency. And so that's the theory that I will proffer to you about Chicago and the Ben Johnson era moving forward.
My theory that I'll proffer to you here on December, 23rd, is that when Chicago plays a first place schedule, and we get the Bill Barnwell column about one
the
score
regression
game, they're going to be the number one candidate for this. Denver will probably be number 2. So we can go back and forth and have that conversation.
You're not wrong. That's a good take, Schaef.
Those are your unequivocal champions of the one score. How the fuck do they keep doing this while also getting the schedule benefit? Now, Denver, I think, finished 2nd or 3rd last year, so they were playing a 3rd place schedule because the Las Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders exist to play the 4th place schedule. But
always,
I there will be a little bit of a shift for all of it, and there is no way the Bears can continue to pull themselves out of the fire. I mean, we could probably sit here and name 6 games for Chicago this year, which is a big part of why I just can't imagine them winning 3 in a row. I was thinking, though, when you were talking about Chicago and Caleb Williams, because I didn't really want to listen to you gush about this organization. The 2 versus 3 actually really does matter. If the 6 is San Francisco and the 7 is a dead in the water Green Bay team, I'm assuming Jordan Love would be back for the playoffs at this point, but does it really matter? I have this sort of opinion that Matt LaFleur shows that he's actually a really good coach every time Malik Willis is in.
He does. He does.
If they hadn't had a monumental collapse, Malik
we're
Willis
like, holy
again.
Shit! Look at what they did on Saturday with Malik Willis.
And then I think we're having this conversation where I'm almost certain that Malik Willis doesn't have a loss with Matt LaFleur at this point in time. So, that would be like a whole discussion as well. But yeah, so they would be the 7 seed, which if you're Chicago, you're going to get a rematch either way, whether it's the Packers or the 49ers who you're playing here this week. Which one would you rather play at home, I guess, because it really. And then if you're the 2, you get to be the home team for the 3 if both of you were to advance. But if the 49ers are as good as you think, and they certainly look like it on Monday, I mean, it wouldn't be a shock if the 49ers beat the Eagles if they were a 3, and then the 49ers is a 6. They're playing the Bears, and
well, hell, in that world, Schaef, if they win, the Bears would win, and the 49ers would then play the 1 seed. And so then the Bears would be playing whoever the second place team is in the NFC West, probably the Rams,
or the Seahawks,
or the Seahawks, or the Niners.
Yeah, it could be any of them.
Matt and I had a long discussion on Sunday because he presented like a theory of I actually don't think it would be the worst thing to drop down or whatever. And I said, look, you're gonna have to deal with any of those teams regardless. Oh, because he was saying, I don't know if I want to be the 1 seed because then you would have to play. And he was like, you'd have to play the 49ers in round 2. I'm like, yeah, but if you're the 2, you might have to play the Rams or the Seahawks in round 2. Like,
how would the Bears get to be the 1 seed?
This was before the, no, I guess the Rams, he was just like gaming out. Like, what if the Seahawks were to lose or whatever? Gotcha. I think there is still a possibility. It's just very, 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 very small. Yeah. That's why, Schaef, you just made my argument for me. That's why the NFC is freaking loaded this year and why there's no real, and obviously some of that's a joke, but The benefit of the one, of course, is the off week, and then after that, it's like a crapshoot. Maybe you kind of, in a weird way, do you think that the 2 seed hopes the Eagles win? Because I think I might rather play the Eagles than I'd rather play any of the NFC West teams. Now, at that point, they've maybe gone on a nice little run at the end of the regular season, and certainly the fear of them being able to turn it on in the postseason and find themselves again. My fear, yes, absolutely my fear. God, I'm frightened of that happening.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. They look better. And even when they were absolute trash on Monday Night Football against the Chargers, they should have won that game.
Should have won the game.
Like I joked about it. Not a joke, I'm sure, for your wife on the Discord, but like Jake Elliott is unbelievably unreliable now as a kicker. Like, I swear I've seen him miss like 5 kicks this
End
season.
of the first half was hysterical on Saturday.
All of them have been like somewhat important kicks as they've happened. And then as me in this pick'em contest who keeps touching the hot stove despite the fact that he has burned all the feelings off of his sensory pads of his fingers.
Wow.
I keep taking the Eagles because it's like, well, surely they're going to beat the Commanders by 7. Of course they're going to beat the banged up Justin Herbert led Chargers by 3. And then, they have like a ton of wins and losses by the hook this year. Like, they're just and then the one time I didn't take them, they played Las Vegas and won that game in the first 2 minutes of the game. So
in hindsight, that was one where all of us should have taken Philadelphia because do the Raiders absolutely suck. And then, of course, they give the Texans a game on Sunday.
Yeah, that was the Sunday afternoon window was pretty entertaining from a gambling and fantasy perspective for me. I don't know that any of the games were that particularly good, but I had a lot happening in all of them, and so I was spending a lot of time watching Kirk Cousins and the Falcons Cardinals because of that. I was spending time watching the Texans and Raiders because of that, and so
laughing at the Lions.
Not high quality football at all. Yeah, that was probably the one that I watched the least out of the 4. And then, of course, it had the wildest sort of ending.
Insane.
And I have to say, the Schadenfreude of people losing their minds. There's one particular Lions fan that is now done with the NFL. The NFL is trash. He's
good take. Handshake meme. Who is this person? I want to go hug them.
I think people can figure out who it is, but they've gotten to enjoy 2 good seasons of Lions football in their life, and now it's over. That was also one of their tweets as well. So the Schadenfreude of all of it is just, it gives me so much joy. And then it's knowing on Thursday that Minnesota, who absolutely has nothing to play for, and this is what they do the best. They're very good at winning these meaningless games and going in the wrong direction. They give themselves a 3 seed should they win on Thursday against the Lions. And yet it feels like a real possibility that Max Brosmer and the Vikings are going to somehow do this to themselves and do this to Detroit, who would probably be smart enough to lose on purpose while Minnesota's over here feeling great about getting this win against Detroit. So it's Christmas will be, and I'm all for it. I'm anti-tanking. So
it's so funny. I made a business decision on Sunday in that I was not going to put on games that had nothing to do with anything for the playoff picture. And so I didn't watch a second of Chiefs Titans. I didn't even realize that Gardner Minshew got injured early in the game until Sunday Night Football. Like, I avoided a lot of, now part of it too, I was angry at the Cowboys, was watching that game, totally disinterested. I decided to start wrapping presents for Christmas, just mad and angry at my fandom and you telling me to be excited to do this podcast a few months ago, and now I hate everything again.
You should be excited. So, you're going to talk about your favorite sports league, even though I don't know, maybe you're reverting back to college. Your favorite? I have no idea.
No, NFL. That Saturday night game was monumentally awesome between the Bears and the Packers. So no, I'm in on the NFL. But this was a long windup to say this. I didn't realize that JJ McCarthy got hurt until I was listening to Bill and Sal on Monday morning, because your game was also one where I was like, I ain't watching a damn second of Vikings. And who did you play again on Sunday?
Oh, it's horrible. The Giants.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because I saw the score occasionally pop up. So normally I do game, quad box, and I just did game. because there was not very many that actually mattered in the noon window. And so it was fun kind of learning over the course of 24 hours, like, oh, wow, interesting. This was the result that happened. I felt like me at like 13, where I only watched 1 or 2 games a day. And then you'd watch NFL primetime at night, like, whoa, look at what happened in Tennessee. They beat the Jaguars.
Tom Jackson. You're teaching me about what happened.
Louisville. Yeah, and so it was nice to be able to do that like the old days. Hey, real quick, going back to the Bears, you mentioned first place schedule, so I decided to pull it up. So here are their cross division games next year. So they have the NFC East team. So if the Bears win the NFC North, which I think they will, that would be Eagles. Mm-hmm. They are at the NFC West team. So who knows who the hell that could be? That probably Seattle. And then they play the AFC South winner, which looking like it's going to be Jacksonville. They also, besides the usual games in the division, they travel to Buffalo. They travel to perhaps the NFC South champs, Carolina. They welcome in Tampa Bay. They also welcome in the Patriots. You hit on it a few minutes ago. This will absolutely be the Bill Barnwell regression candidate numero uno. The Bears are going to take a step back. Their Pythagorean wins is going to be way lower than their actual wins were. So congratulations to you and me for writing Bill's column on this Tuesday, December 23rd. That thing will come out next August.
He probably watched Saturday night's game and its conclusion and then immediately started on that paragraph.
Pecking away.
Going to be about,
type. Yeah,
exactly. So
I wonder who the teams are that are who are the anti-regression teams? Who are the teams that are going to be better next year? I wonder.
Well, when the Vikings go out and get an actual quarterback, they'll
be on the list.
Play schedule that includes the Cardinals, Titans, Saints, etc. They'll be propped up. Minnesota is a cover the kickoff return against the Bears away from still being in the playoff conversation right now. With a year that has featured Carson Wentz, JJ McCarthy, and Max Brosmer as their starting quarterbacks. That's how well the Vikings have played under the surface beyond just the quarterback play, which is yet another reminder that if they had simply re-signed Sam Darnold, they could possibly be the best team in the NFC right now, which is just incredible on every level when they just continue to make the wrong decisions. But hey, they've got JJ McCarthy and his injured every body part.
What did he do? How did he get hurt on Sunday? How did he get hurt on Sunday?
He did the thing where he's an NFL quarterback and he hit his hand on a helmet on a follow through. But because he's made out of just complete glass, he's unable to just shake it off like every other quarterback in the league. So we've had a meniscus, we've had a high ankle sprain that cost him 6 weeks. We've had a concussion in which he put himself in protocol, and then he hit his hand on a helmet and he was done for potentially the rest of the season. So congrats to JJ McCarthy, 8.5 games out of a possible 34 and to start your career. Congratulations to you.
It's like 25%.
Stealing money as a rookie scaled quarterback right now in the NFL. And the Vikings have to figure out what the hell they're going to do at quarterback next year. Bring back Kirk Cousins. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh, Mike Schaefer, what are you doing? I am so worried for you. A comment from Matt. The Titans-Chiefs game was very boring. Actually saw a 3-2 score for a while. I was so happy I didn't watch a second of that game. And then I saw the highlights during Sunday Night Football, and I was like, wow, I made a really great decision. And here's a take to as we have to leave a little bit earlier today, everybody. We apologize for that. But Patrick Mahomes, maybe they should give him the MVP because this roster looks like absolute garbage. And now I'm like, wow, you know what? Patrick Mahomes, even better maybe than I realized he was.
I think building off of your take, Sunday was a reminder of how awful it is when you're locked into geographical football being picked for you by the networks. You know, you mentioned how you used to only get to watch 3 games before primetime. One of those would always be a hapless Chiefs game.
Yep.
One of the reasons that I hated the Chiefs before their run of greatness was because I was forced to watch them every Sunday as my option on Channel 3 growing up. And now I don't have to do that. Now I get all the options. So I can watch Atlanta and Kirk Cousins versus
you are a freak.
Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals because it matters to me from a financial perspective.
You are an absolute sicko. That is National Fun League, again, an abbreviated edition. We will let you know what our plans are next week. I haven't talked to Schaef if, holidays and traveling and all those types of things. So
I would be around, but obviously everything involving me is always up in the air. Like,
Well,
I
hey,
couldn't make
here's
it,
the
on
good thing
time.
about next week, though, Schaef. I don't have a regular job to do, and so we could record even a little later in the morning.
I
If you
haven't
would
had a
like.
regular job since October 29th. It hasn't stopped me from being late and not showing up to these podcasts either. So,
Your words, not mine. All right, so sweet. We'll do a National Fun League next week. Stay tuned for the time, maybe a little bit later in the morning, but we will do that. And then we got to figure out our playoff plans too, Schaef, because got Saturday games, of course. We're going to have all the Sunday games.
we got to get Matt. We got to do a 3-man pod.
Yes.
I can let him tell me how excited he is for this playoff game. And I can be like, well, I'm glad you got this one weekend of fun, because it's all hell after that. And then the Bears will lose and he'll just be miserable the next week. And I'll know the feeling. You will too.
I'm looking right now at the wild card round starts on Saturday the 10th. Maybe if we're all free, we hop on early in the day, and because Creighton has a game, so I'll have to do post game for that. But maybe we hop on and we do a pod that day, getting ready for round 1 of the playoffs, and then we go from there. So.
What if Matt's Bears are playing at the same time Creighton's post game is happening?
Dude, he keeps doing this. The Packers, he has had to work during 2 Packers games, and wow, I was so sad that there was not video of him and Joey, who is a Packer fan, during the show on Saturday night. Holy crap.
I sent him a text because he had a tweet about Creighton while the game was going on with the Bears and the Packers. And I was like, you're not required to tweet about Creighton. You only have to be there for the post-game show. He's like, thanks for noticing.
All right, so stay tuned. We'll do a National Fun League next week, and then we'll do some playoff stuff. We'll get together, all of us. Also, at some point, Schaefer and I will be watching NFL games together during the playoffs, like we did last year. Hopefully, you got to watch the downfall of one of your least favorite teams. Maybe this year, the good Lord returns the favor, and I can watch the downfall of
from the number 1 seed to potentially out of the playoffs to the Detroit Lions story. What an incredible run. From dipshit Dan not kicking that field goal in San Francisco to go up 17 points to out of the playoffs 2 years later.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Just the Schadenfreude is so strong. I love it.
This is all we have when our teams suck. This is all we have.
The Schadenfreude, that's what it is.
That's what it is indeed. All right, he is Mike Schaefer. I'm Josh Peterson. Thanks for joining us on National Fun League. We would love a like and subscribe on the way out the door. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. We'll remember no IID Live this week with Jack and myself. Maybe a Saturday morning coffee show. Some of that's going to depend on Matt's internet in Chicago if we're able to do that. So stay tuned. We'll let you know around this holiday season. He's Mike Schaefer. I'm Josh Peterson. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. We will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.